Well, hello everyone. How are you all doing this fine Sunday afternoon and evening? Because I'll tell you this, I'm doing just dandy. Just dandy. All right. So, let's see who we got in here. We got Sancho. What's going on? Empty Sense. What's up? Rich Mitch. What's up? Anyone got Yada That's the question of the day, isn't it? Yada That's by Karen or Caron, right? Who else we got? We got Caboose that was in here earlier. We got Muse. Man, this is a nice small bundle of people, but we can definitely make a huge dent. Oh shit. Corti OP 80. We need that sweet beard. No, not today. Let me give you guys the premise of this video. Okay? Hey, what's up, Yara? Oh shit, I just came in hot, didn't I? Alright. So the premise of this stream. I've got about an hour, give or take a few minutes. I wanted to go over a few topics that have been going on in my head and bothering the shit out of me. You know, it's one of those topics that I guess since I've seen the evolution of Fragcom, I feel it's closer to my heart. And when I say I've seen the evolution, it's not that I witnessed it evolve, it's that I was distanced from it for so long that when I came back, I did not recognize it at all. Okay? You have to remember that I was gone for 7 years. 7 years. That in that time, in that 7 years, things change. People change. You know, the status quo changes. But what stays the same? With that, I'm going to offer floor to anyone that wants to jump on and contribute to the topic that we're going to be discussing, and that is rules of fragrance. Okay, fragrance rules. And I'm doing air quotes, but you can't really see. But what are the rules of fragrance? And just to give you guys a few ideas of what I'm talking about, you know, when to wear a fragrance, where to wear a fragrance, where to apply the fragrance, how much to put on, what season, what age, you know, are you going with your damn pet somewhere? Are you going to the supermarket and walking down the bread aisle, or are you going through the fucking milk area? Who gives a shit? There's so many rules in this game. And I call it a game because that's what it is. Some people are making a killing and some people just suck. There's so many rules in this game that I feel people are either sore losers or they start listening to people because they think that's the trend, or overall people are just, you know, riding the wave. They're thinking, okay, this is what this person is saying now, this is what this person is saying now, etc. So talk about the few things that I already mentioned, you know, where to wear fragrance, how much to put on, etc. Why do we listen to people that tell us these things? Right? Like really, I want, and that's not a rhetorical question. If anyone has a response, why does anyone listen to anyone else when it comes to where to apply a fragrance, how much to put, which fragrance to wear? And I'll tell you my impression of other people's, I guess, offerings on this subject. If you're spraying let's say Acqua di Gio, okay? And I'm not going to name fragrances that are, shishi, la la, whatever. Today, this is Mr. Nobody talking. I'm going to fucking change my name right here. I don't even know why I put Sultan. Jesus fucking Christ. Why? I'm not even going to put a damn capital N. I'm nobody, right? Thank you, Rich. But let's talk about Acqua di Gio for a second. If you're watching a video and you're just getting into fragrances, you're listening to someone talk about the fragrance, what it smells like, it's their perception of what it smells like, how much they might have paid for it, where they bought it from, whose dick they sucked to get it, whose dick they sucked because that's who they followed in the first place to get that fragrance. And they said, oh, I'm going to be a follower, not a leader. I'm going to get the same fucking fragrance that 50 billion other people have. So I'm going to watch these videos to see how I should spray it. It's like watching a tutorial. These people are watching videos because they want not a fragrance review, they want a fragrance tutorial, right? How much to put on, where to put it, when to wear it, what's appropriate, who it's appropriate for, etc. What's to say that a 20-year-old can or can't wear it versus a 75-year-old? And I love how I dropped the link and nobody's jumped on. Okay, this is a sensitive subject. I understand. Like really, it took a lot of, not even energy. It just took a lot of patience for me to, combine some of these thoughts and put it into one area. And Acqua di Gio, for instance, you can wear it anywhere. You can wear it whenever. You can wear it to a wedding. You can wear it to a funeral. Because at the end of the day, you are supposed to be the one that's determining what is appropriate. Now, let's say if I'm going out to a wedding and I'm wearing Acqua di Gio, the chances of someone else smelling that and having a comment or whatever, if I'm the groom, sure, I wouldn't want to necessarily wear it because other people would recognize it. I would want to be more unique. But for the people that are the followers, for the people that are the impressionable, why would someone in a review say these age groups instead of empowering the people to say, hey, look, you can wear whatever the fuck you want. You just have to establish yourself and figure out what's good for you. If I'm going to a wedding versus you going to a wedding, what's to say that you and I will experience the same thing? We're going to be talking, even if we were at the same fucking wedding, even if we were sitting at the same goddamn table, what's to say that your experience wearing Acqua di Gio is going to be the same as mine? Think about that, okay? Now, other topics that I want to go through is, just looking at rules and guidelines and figuring out why people follow them. I just thought of this. I kind of feel like Kevin Scamuels, right? I'm not showing love to the comments. I'm going to show some love to the comments, y'all. So, come on, I dropped that link. Someone join. I usually apply my fragrance in my bedroom. That's a good start. But now the thing, Rich, is are your fragrances in your bedroom, or do you take the fragrances from where they are to your bedroom just to spray them? Channel 69 reformulations. No, I have not smelled Kajal. I do have a sample of Yatagan OG. What does that mean? I've fallen for one called Warwick. Okay, we love you, Sultan. Yay! Different rules for different times. Okay, Sultan on a Sunday. Yeah, buddy. All right. Sultan Samuels. All right. So, and I see yours, Yara. I'll come back to yours. And we got someone backstage. But before I introduce them, let's just think of why we follow instead of lead. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't ever follow. It's always good to, get people's perspective. But at the end of the day, a lot of these people that are watching these videos, a lot of these people that, let's talk about Joey, for instance. Why Joey doesn't have more followers? Because maybe people recognize that he's only going to be talking about the same fragrances over and over again. Let's say the 1,000 fragrances that he's either got bottles of, samples of, has smelled, etc. Right? That palette expands at a linear rate, and he's established his opinion, and people might be able to say, okay, his palette is the way it is, and he's not getting sponsored by some other people to shift the way he talks about fragrances. With that, let's introduce Sancho. Sancho, you ready? 3, 2, 1. That was perfect timing.
What's up? What's up? What's up,
Right
everybody in
there.
the chat? How's everybody doing?
A rule breaker, if
Rule
there
break.
ever was one.
Well, the only reason why I follow the rules is because I don't know how to wear fragrances. I think that was in the beginning of my fragrance journey, and I decided to break it with this one. So for me, I looked up Fragrantica, and they said that Parfums de Marly Calan is a fall fragrance, but you can wear it in the summertime. I'm wearing it right now, and I love it. But I mean, I do agree that there are some fall scents that you can't wear in the summer, because if you spray too much, then you can overpower the room, or repel people. What do you guys think?
Okay. I like that. So first off, the projection of that belch. Do you think that got to other areas of the house? Are you knocking people out with that belch?
Maybe. Oh wait, I think
Uh,
someone's knocking. I think my neighbor's knocking at my door. Hold on. I'm joking.
So, Kalan, when you read Fragrantica, why did you read Fragrantica? What prompted you to look into Kalan in the first place?
Well, okay. So why do I look at Fragrantica is because everybody looks at it, and that's the only one that the only database that I know for fragrances. The website sucks though. It's really, really slow compared to another database from say for example, Internet Movie Database, but that's for another topic. Well, I go on it because other people go on it, and I guess that's that's the reason why I always check what other people are saying, and seeing if it's just to check to see if my opinions are right. When you're doing research, do other people think
Sure.
the same way I think? And that's why I look at Fragrantica.
So, do you feel validated when you are looking at something that you've already purchased or smelled? Or what's the purpose for you to look at something that you have just smelled? Like, let's say you're out sniffing and you've never seen or heard about this fragrance.
Mm-hmm.
What is the main motivator for you to go to a site like Fragrantica
Just
after
to
smelling it?
see if people are saying the same thing that I'm thinking. If it's something
Okay.
totally, if everybody has a different opinion, then it's whatever, take it or leave it. But if 10 people are saying the same thing, then I'm oh, well, maybe they're onto something, whether they like
Okay.
it or whether they don't like it.
So it's not necessarily validation, but it's more alignment
For me,
uh,
yes.
of why or of what you smell, not necessarily anything as far as quality. It's just you're trying to see if other people smell it the same way,
Yes.
or enjoy it to the same degree, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, I like that. I think that's a very good reason. And of course, at the end of the day, y'all, who am I? This is all my opinion. So take it or leave it, whatever you want. I'm not gonna hold any animosity towards anyone that thinks differently than me. That's the beauty of a platform such as this. You can be very opinionated, and people will love the shit out of you. And what's up, Hillary? Welcome. It's
Harry Hills.
It's a lot of people that are trying to find their way, right? Just like you said, you'd go there at first, maybe just to see, you know, information on a fragrance. I look
Okay,
at Fragrantica all the time. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll give you another thing. Like, what happens if I'm interested in let's see, a new fragrance that's coming out? The way I did it for the Profundo. Um, oh my God, Agua di Gio Profundo, and I wanted to see what everybody thinks before like I go and make and make my opinion. Like, should this be a blind buy? But at the same time, it's like I don't do blind buys. Like, I always smell it for myself, and then I'll make my decision.
So now, when it comes to blind buying, I think that's a very interesting topic. Simply because I blind buy shit all the time, and when I say all the time, the frequency of me buying fragrances for the past couple of years has been very low. But for the past month or so, the past 2 months, 3 months, I've been, you know, spending an unreasonable amount of money on things that I've never smelled before. So, spray light. But, getting information from a forum such as Fragrantica, YouTube, Reddit, wherever you're reading it, even like word of mouth, you're not going to be able to understand the fragrance until you smell it yourself and formulate that opinion yourself. Simply because
That's correct.
fragrances will tie to memories. Fragrances will smell different to different people. I guess the simplest thing is the durian fruit, right? It's such a polarizing thing. Some people love it, other people hate it. It's one of those that 100% or 0%. Fragrance, I think, in a big way is, but a lot of people convince themselves that, hey, look, this person loves it. They're a trendsetter. They're an influencer. I should be following that trend because I want to be popular. So compliment factor, I think, is a very interesting thing to include in reviews, simply because they might be complimenting on how it reacts on your skin, right? It's
Hmm.
not just the fragrance. It could be that that day you especially look nice. It's that day that they feel especially chipper, that they feel like giving a compliment, and that set them over the top. The thing is, everyone knows this. Nobody says this. So all the people getting into the community at first just go blindly on what the person's saying. They haven't formulated this thought process yet that, hey, I've got to take what they're saying with a grain of salt. I've
Hmm.
got to establish my own opinions and my own taste. So I think any introduction to the world of fragrance needs to introduce these things, as opposed to saying, "Oh, this is the top 10 list of fragrances you should start your collection with." It's like, no, these are the top 10 guidelines for which you should start developing your nose, right? Because why would someone say, "I'm going to own these 10 fragrances," when the tastes develop so fast at the beginning of your journey that you might only still like two of those after 6 months. The other eight, you'll be like, fuck, why did I buy this? Fucking Jeremy Fragrance told me to buy it, or oh,
Yeah.
fucking Stephen Adolescence told me to buy it, or oh, Robes told me to buy it. It's like, no, they didn't tell you to buy it. It's just that you were impressionable. You were trying to figure out your identity, so therefore you went ahead and bought it. And then, of course, the people get bitter with the person that made the video or made the review, and then they start thinking that person's a piece of shit, or their taste is shitty. When in fact, it's like an unsaid thing that I think more people need to say.
Oh, can you bring
So,
up Cabooses comment?
yeah, sorry, I'm way behind on comments. I'm a little. So usually I am on my multiple monitors, so I can sit comfortably and go through everything at a nice pace. But I'm on my laptop, so I apologize. Let's see. Good question, Rich. I said, hey, y'all. So the link is there. For those of you just joining or have just joined, we've got about 40 more minutes until this video is over. I wanted to keep it nice and short. I wanted to touch base on a few things. Where the hell? Oh my god, I have missed a lot, haven't I? This is like 4
Whoa.
minutes worth. And I'm not trying to make this a monologue, I promise. Hey, what are you drinking, man? What's that?
Oh, this is sparkling water made by Waterloo. It's like a Target brand.
Oh, very nice. I think they sell Waterloo at other places. Really? It's Target brand?
I don't know. I thought it was. Well, if they sell it from other places, then it's not Target brand. Uh,
Is that the caboose comment?
yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm like the same way. I always buy samples. I I wear them for like a day or two, and then I make up my mind.
If I think about it, I don't think I've ever bought a fragrance after testing it in store. I've bought samples that have led me to purchase, but mostly blind buys. So, Caboose, just based on that, I would love to hear your insight because why would you blind buy when you start testing stuff in store and you wouldn't buy after that? Are you doing it for the thrill of the purchase? Are you doing it because other people have said, hey, look, this is a good fragrance, you should buy it? What is your main motivator for something like that? Or is that simply because you've tested the sample and then you just bought it? That's true, but I think people resort to reviews whether on YouTube or Fragrantica when they first start getting into this hobby. But I think once they understand what they like and don't like, I think there was a
I
part.
was just
There we go. Where's the part two? They start sampling instead of going in and blind buying an expensive bottle. Yeah, and that's the thing. For people like me, I just what was it? I just bought Aqua Allegoria Verde blind simply because someone had said, "Hey, this is a good fragrance with lime. If you like lime, you should buy this." And I said, "Fuck, okay, let me buy it." So even me, I buy shit because of other people saying I should.
but
Now,
you
am I
trust
gonna?
those. But do you trust those other people?
Yeah, I mean that
Like,
was Mark. So
hmm.
I think over the years I've established a level of understanding of Mark's reviewing style.
Hmm.
But the thing is, since I'm so distanced right now, at least, that when I jump in and I hear Mark say something like that, I don't know if this is the same old Mark from 2013 or 2010, or if this is a new Mark. So
Yeah, that
with
makes sense.
that,
That makes sense
uh,
because people's tastes like change, right?
yep, absolutely. What did who say? He said the online groups give me a cushion that'll make 50 to 80% of my money back. It's so true. Selling shit after buying it. Yeah, some people just have the hoarding gene. That they'll just keep everything. Hey, what's up, Chris? Sorry, I saw you earlier. I didn't say hi. Bought in the store before out of guilt. Yeah. Okay, Sancho, have you ever bought something out of guilt because you're like, So I don't know
Never.
if I don't know if this is the same as Chris, but I would have spent a lot of time with a sales associate thinking that, hey, look, this fragrance, everyone else is wanting me to smell this. Let me smell it. And then right there, they start hyping it in front of me. I don't like it necessarily, but the person that told me to go get it, it was like, really influenced me to actually get off my butt and go smell it. And then I go, this person starts saying, "Oh yeah, this is a bestseller. This is amazing. This is, I just sold like 6 bottles of this today." And I'm like, "Well, fuck, everyone's thinking that this is good. Let me jump on that train." And then after buying it, going home, I'm like, "Fuck, what have I done?" So, Chris, is that sort of the same thing that went on with you and Hills? But
Oh, sorry, Chris. What's up, man?
all right, I'm way behind. I'm gonna just go straight. Decants over samples. So decants. What's your
The,
opinion of decants versus samples, Sancho?
oh, you know what? I use that term was it interchangeably? Because like I usually go on eBay and just get the 3 mil like sample. I guess that's a decant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Three
Okay.
mil. The thing is, 3 mil. I would still say that's a sample. Once you get to like
Uh,
5 mil and more, I would
yeah.
consider 5 mil and more a decant.
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes like 3 mil, 5 mil, depending on the fragrance. Because
Yeah.
sometimes like, oh God, what's like if it's something like say I don't know what's a Serjov, like a 5 mil, maybe like super expensive compared to like Calvin Klein's CK Shock. But then it gets to a
Okay.
point where you're just like, well, fuck, dude, for like $5 more, I might as well get the damn bottle.
Yeah. No, seriously. And some people just can't afford it. Some people think I'd rather waste $5 now
Hmm.
than save $5 by buying a bottle and loving it. Because if I spend $5 now on a sample, if I hate it, it saves me, $55 on, the rest of the purchase of the bottle. And then if I love it, then I can spend the extra $60 or whatever it is to get the full bottle, whatever site or store you end up getting a regular designer. I think when it comes to niche, it's a little bit different.
Hmm.
I didn't want to go too deep, too in depth with like niche stuff. I'm just talking designer, uh, simply because it's the entry level stuff, right? Someone getting fresh into fragrances, they're not going to be looking at creeds and Amouage and Tom Ford. Maybe they
Yeah.
will just because of other influencers and other aspects of life, like rap music or whatever. But for the most part, people's first exposure to fragrances are going to be stuff that their friends are wearing, or commercials that they see, or
Yeah.
pamphlets or leaflets inside of magazines.
Or top
So,
10 penny droppers.
oh yeah,
Top 10, top
everyone
10
loves
fragrances to
those.
get that girl.
Fuck. Top ten colognes to get you out of your mom's basement. How about that? I think that'll be more applicable for some of these people. But I mean, getting back on topic with rules, right? Rules that are set out for you are set by others. Why don't more people establish their own rules for really good reasons? So, for instance, I don't wear green Irish tweed. I love the smell of green Irish tweed. I don't wear it. Why? Because someone in my life does not like the smell, right? So a rule like that seems simple, but then you start thinking, okay, I have to be careful with what other fragrances are in my collection that smell similar, and I can't wear any of those because it gives that person a headache or whatever, right? So if you're considering how many sprays you're doing because certain amounts of fragrance on you will knock people out, what's the difference between that and being cognizant of those around you that are close by and close in your inner circle of friends? They don't like a certain fragrance, or it reminds them of their ex, or it brings them to tears because it was like their dad's or mom's favorite fragrance, etc. So in just this one little bit, people are setting their own guidelines, and that other people don't really understand why. If I'm saying I don't wear green Irish tweed, I guarantee you at least two people in the audience thought right away, like, why the fuck would you not? You're a Creed guy. You probably own green Irish tweed. Why don't you wear it? And the reason is personal. So now, let's say a like name any fragrance that's designer, that's common. Name anything.
Sauvage.
Sauvage. Me personally, I like Sauvage. I'm not gonna lie and say I love it. I'm not gonna lie and say I hate it. But at the end of the day, I wear it. I don't wear it all the time. I wear it every once in a while. Because for me, I'm not listening to other people's rules. They said, "Oh yeah, this is a shitty fragrance. There's better things to wear, etc., etc." What's the point of buying a fragrance if not to wear it? What's the point of smelling fragrance if not to try to enjoy it? And I'm not saying just trying to enjoy it like, "Oh, I love wearing this fragrance," but trying to decipher what the perfumer was trying to do, decipher what it's like on my skin and how other people react. There's so many layers to wearing a fragrance that I think most people just fall short of that. And I know that that's my opinion. And certain people will wear fragrances just to get laid. Certain people will wear fragrances just to do one thing, whatever, that's a one trick pony. That's totally fine as long as they're doing it for themselves, not for someone else. That's my philosophy. Now, again, people can be, against my opinion. I don't care. That's fine. That's the whole beauty of an opinion. But I think people like that. Sorry, I was again distracted. But uh, if people are doing that one trick pony, they've got to just be true to themselves. And I
Hmm.
think a lot of people with that mentality are not true to themselves. They're trying to paint a picture that's not indicative of who they are. They're still a follower because they're saying, "Oh, I'm just trying to get laid. Someone told me that I should be doing this with my life. Someone told me I should be doing this by using fragrance. Someone told me by using fragrance it can help me get laid." Right?
Yeah,
Now,
but
oh, what's up?
for me, fragrances are like an extension of your personality and wardrobe. You know, like if I'm at work and if I was a manager and I wanted to be respected, I would wear something like Terre d'Hermes, to let people know, like, hey, um, I mean business. I wouldn't wear something like, say,
Black
Paco
excess.
Rabanne, yeah, Invictus.
So, is that because you feel that Invictus is an inappropriate scent, or because you've associated that fragrance with it being inappropriate? Like, is that an opinion that you established yourself, or that someone tried laying it on thick with you?
It's something that I experience. It's both because every time I smell it, it's just like like a party mode fragrance, like a club scent. Like, hey, like I want to get noticed. I want to go out and party. Like that's that's what I associate it with.
Hmm. So, what's to say that if you're, let's say, you're a manager of a team, like a corporate team, for instance, and all of your employees are in their 20s and 30s. If you were, let's say, an older gentleman in your, 50s, and you thought something like Terre de Hermes or, Safari by Ralph Lauren or Polo Green or, one of these other old school fragrances, what's to say that to them exudes the smell of class, professionalism, and style versus wearing something more modern and hip like Savage? Do you think that you have to cater to your audience, or by you staying fixated on who you are and staying true to yourself, that you will exude that image onto them? Like, do you think they'll perceive what you're throwing at them, or will that just fall short
Give me a second.
of your
Sorry.
expectations? No problem. So, Hughes, everyone's nose is different. What you may have liked in your 20s versus what you like now. Absolutely. Tastes change. And I think that it's not just age dependent. It's not just gender dependent. There's so much going on with fragrance that you might not like something that you liked a week ago, and that's totally independent of anything else. It could just be that one day you woke up and you're like, shit, I associate this with, raspberries. And, I have a stupid reason for not liking raspberries. I don't like this fragrance anymore. Whatever it is, there's so much going on. There are fragrances I would own just because they remind me of home. Even if it's not something I'd wear on a regular basis, it's still sentimental. Absolutely, Hills. My number one fragrance of all time, Black Excess by Paco Rabanne. It smells like a child. Like it seriously smells like if someone 21 wants to go to the club, that's like a great fragrance for them. It flies under the radar these days because it's not on any top 10 lists or anything. I think that people can get away with it
Yeah,
and
I like
still
it.
and they'll still
I like
smell
it.
unique and different than everyone else because everyone else is on Profondo or whatever new Le Male flanker is out there, the Parfum or Extreme or whatever. It's what it always boils down to is following versus leading. And when I say lead, I don't mean lead others. I mean lead your own path, right? Establish your own tastes. Of course, you can't learn to walk by yourself. You can't learn to run by yourself. But you've always got someone that's guiding you, saying that, hey, look, this is walking. You're as a child, you're watching someone else walk. Just like I'm sure everyone's experienced this with children, right? If you don't talk to children at a young age, they will not learn to talk. The more you talk to them, the more talkative they'll be from the get go, right? I
Let,
remember. What's up?
oh, I was. I'll wait until you're done. I'm sorry, man. Didn't mean to interject.
No, no, go for it, please.
I was just gonna ask you. Okay, so say if you're gonna meet the CEO of your company, would you prefer wearing something like conservative, like like Terre de Hermes or Invictus? Because
I
that's what I was talking about. Like
Sure. Now, you want my knee jerk reaction or do you want my thought out reaction? I'll
whatever
give
you
you
want, man.
both. I'll give you both. Knee jerk reaction, I would want to wear something that made me confident and comfortable, regardless of what it smelled like. I would not wear anything that could be seen as offensive. So, for instance, I would not be wearing Musk Kublai Khan or Secretions Magnifique because it would be off putting, because to me it's off putting. Now, I would say that the general consensus in the community is that those fragrances are off putting. Therefore, I would not wear it. If I wanted to wear a fragrance, I would wear something that I love, that was easily available in my collection, and that wouldn't raise any eyebrows. I'm not trying to impress someone else with fragrance. If I'm meeting the CEO, this is possibly the one time. I don't know. I don't think I would want to try to leave an impression simply because I'm not trying to leave an impression with the fragrance. I'm trying to leave an impression with what I say and what I do. So whatever gives me the most confidence, even if it's a skin scent, I think that's my personality and that's what I would do. Now, if you asked me that same question 15 years ago, oh yeah, I would say, oh, okay, give me, Creed's Millesime Imperial because it exudes confidence, it makes me confident, and it shows that I've got expensive taste and I've got class. I think as I developed my taste in this community, as I've developed my taste over the years, and me as a professional and figuring out what works and what doesn't, hearing comments and compliments and you know whatever the fuck is the opposite of a compliment. People dissing whatever I'm wearing. I've heard it all. I would not want to wear anything like that. But now, if I actually thought about it, I'd probably wear something like Prada uh, Infusion de Homme because it just smells clean. And cleanliness is next to godliness. And I think that anyone can appreciate someone that smells clean. I don't think anyone dislikes the
True.
smell of cleanliness, especially someone that is in a high professional position like that. I think at the very least they think that okay, this guy is clean. Maybe not fragrance related, but just clean, and that's perfect. What about you?
Cool. Uh, I was gonna say I have to go.
Ah,
Thank you for having me, but I do like clean scents, clean professional scents, especially if I'm asking clients to give me money.
oh, absolutely,
So yeah, so I have to be like, something that's pleasant, not like repulsive. Experimental.
absolutely. I think that's the word of the day then, experimental, right?
Yeah,
In the most positive and negative way. So no,
sure.
absolutely. If I appreciate you jumping on, Sancho. I know
Well,
you
thank
had
you for having
to.
me.
You can only. I knew you can only stay on for a bit. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time,
No
bud.
problem. Take it easy. Bye, everybody.
All right, that was great, Sancho. Man, the myth, the legend. So that link is available for y'all. I'm gonna just drop it one more time, and anyone is welcome to come in and give their insight Because at the end of the day, this is all something that's subjective, right? Whatever I say is good isn't going to necessarily smell good to you. So why do you listen to what I have to say about a fragrance, right? Like really, if I was to talk about a fragrance and hype it up, why would you listen to me? Raspberries are the worst of the berries. So the funny thing about raspberries, I don't call them raspberries. I call them raspberries. Some of my best memories are with Black XS. My university professor used to wear 1 million a 1 million type scent. Couldn't pinpoint what it was. He was in his late 50s. It smelled all right, just didn't work in the classroom setting. So now, why do you think that he wore it? And why do you think that it didn't work? Was it that it was, I guess, distracting? Was it that Aqua de Million? Yeah, you know what it is. But I can tell you this: that someone at that age in a university, as in a classroom, either a student or teacher, why would someone wear something that's very, pronounced? That is a projection monster. That you're trying to make a statement when you're in a setting where you're trying to learn. Does that make sense? And I know I'm way behind on comments, but I think this is a very good, I guess, counterpoint to my whole argument, right? Because if I'm saying don't listen to the masses as far as reviews go, I'm a reviewer, or at least I used to be. I used to be a content creator. I used to make videos. I used to talk about fragrances. I used to say, Opium Pour Homme by YSL, projection, let's say back then that formulation was 8 out of 10. Longevity, 6 to 8 hours, easy. If you spray it on clothes, it's longer. I would spray it 4 times max. Out of everything I just told you, I gave you some fact and I gave you some opinion. What's the fact? The fact is YSL Pour Homme. I have it in my hand. I've sprayed it 4 times. On my skin, it lasted this long. For me, it projects this. For me, around people in the setting that I was in, I got compliments or didn't. And again, what it comes back to is understanding of the reviewer and more than just taking them at their word. I don't talk about what I do for a living. I don't talk about, my personal life much simply because what's the point of doing so? It's not that I'm trying to be mysterious or anything. It's just that will that help you determine if I'm a more reputable source of information? Some people would say yes. I would say, look, at the end of the day, I'm nobody. And I love how nobody else is freaking coming on. Ay, ay, ay. At the end of the day, what it boils down to is, are you a trendsetter or are you a trend follower? And that's the question of the day. Are you a trendsetter or a trend follower? And I think you have to ask yourself if you are currently that and you've always been that, or if you're currently this way because you've developed to become this way. Because for me, I for sure was a trend follower. In several ways, I still am a trend follower. When I listen to reviews, when I watch reviews, when I listen to streams or read the comments in these chats, I'm listening and looking at everyone's comments and saying, hey, look, this person's wearing this, that person's wearing that. What type of person is the Jags? What type of person is Muse? Right? Who are these people? Why should I listen to them? Why should I listen to Sancho? Who is he? I've never met the guy. You know, what gives his word more weight than, let's say, Joey? What gives Yara's word more weight than, Hill's? And people will start associating who they're listening to and who they agree with in normal conversation, and thinking that that's, like, hey, look, yeah, I like their take on, let's say, Enchanted Forest. And yeah, I'm picking on you, Hills. Come at me. So, Enchanted Forest. Okay. If I'm wearing Enchanted Forest, I'm going to smell amazing. Now, if I was to blind buy Enchanted Forest before, and saying I hadn't smelled it, I immediately would associate that with Hills. From the get go, I think, okay, this is going to be, a very rich fragrance. This is going to be a very, the people that have been talking about this are very interested in higher end fragrances. So this is going to be bougie to a big degree. And I've got, the fragrance on a pedestal that, regardless of what I think of it, I'm going to establish some sort of affinity towards that fragrance from the get go. So when I smell it, I'm not thinking of, okay, here's a fragrance, Enchanted Forest. I'm thinking, oh shit, this is Enchanted Forest. This is the one Hills talked about. It so happens that I think Enchanted Forest is fantastic. So, right on. Well done. But yeah, are you a trendsetter or a trend follower? Are you able to disassociate your opinions when smelling something from what everyone else has told and taught you? Or are you going in with the preconception of everything you've learned from Fragrantica, from, Base Notes, if Base Notes is even still active, from YouTube, from everywhere? And are you listening to people that are giving you the facts, or are you listening to people that are giving you their opinion? Are you weighing them differently? You would come on, but you're in your jammies. Well, you know what, Hills? I'm in my jammies. That's why I'm not showing my face. Come on now. But it's okay. You don't want to come on, you don't have to. I'm crying. It's okay. You know, it took a lot of thought on my part to even consider making a video like this, because I know that this is going to be a very polarizing topic, because everyone wants to think that they're a trend setter. When it comes to fragrances, everyone is a trend follower, whether or not they admit it or not. But to what degree? And I think that's what it comes. That's the final conclusion of all this. To what degree are you a trend setter or trend follower? I feel that some guidelines are for teaching purposes, like where you'd physically spray fragrance, like on your pulse points, etc. That's fact. You've got blood rushing closer to your skin at those points. So it's not a trend that you're following. But people can say that, oh, you're listening to, so and so. That's what they said. Spraying behind the ears, or oh, you're spraying behind your knees. That's what Jeremy Fragrance says. You're just following Jeremy Fragrance. It's like, no, I'm following something that's factual. I've got, shorts on today. I'm walking away from people, or I'm walking a lot. I'm going to spray it at a pulse point that everything will smell amazing. So does that make me a trend follower? No. Now, if I was buying everything that he's selling, if I was buying all of his Fragrance One stuff or anything like that, yeah, sure, I'd be a trend follower. And I've got nothing against Jeremy. As far as his channel, whatever other opinions I have, that's a topic for a different video. I'm not going to go into that. But as far as me following, yeah, there was a time where I was watching his videos and I blind bought a few things that he was advising. I sprayed them and I actually loved them. So like, what was it? Aqua Amara. I smelled it. I loved it. Now I'm not such a big fan. Do I blame him for it? No. My nose has developed. I don't know why I'm so proud of this is a little weird. Yeah. Enchanted Forest is nice. If y'all haven't smelled Enchanted Forest, smell it. Man, you have some very entertaining reviews. Can we expect the same in the near future? MS fan, uh, I will say this that that for the remainder of this year, I can actually I can actually come out with some content. We've got someone backstage. I think this person needs no introduction. The one and only Caboose.
Hello,
What's
mate.
going What's going on, man?
I'm all good.
So, what do you think of all the stuff I've been talking about?
Sounds like you've been thinking a lot. I was wondering what sparked this thought in your head. These thoughts.
That's a very good question. And I will be 100% honest because I would expect everyone to hold me to that Sancho was very nice to loan me his bottle of Office for Men by Jeremy Fragrance. And I was smelling it. I've been wearing it for the past couple of days. And I think a lot of people give it undue hate for the wrong reason. I think they're associating dislike for the man and maybe his sales tactics and other things and putting it on the fragrance as opposed to disliking the fragrance. So Office for Men for me, sure, it smells nice, it's pleasant. Yeah, the price is outrageous. I think I don't know which review it was, if it was Date for Men or Office for Men, but I watched Mark's review and he was saying, "Oh yeah, sent me this, et cetera, et cetera. I'm still going to give you my honest opinion." At the end of the day, he was like, "Yeah, this is not something that's worth this much money." And I think the saddest part is the people that should be watching that video are the people that are not subscribed to Mark and will not subscribe to Mark. So I started thinking about, who's watching what videos, who's influencing who's following the trend, who's leading the trend. And I will say 100% that right now, people like Jeremy are setting the trends, which is fine, but it takes a gaggle of people to follow for it to be a successful trend. And I think the people that haven't established their own tastes, like let's say the tweens, yeah, they can't have tastes established because they're still wet behind the ears. So those people I don't fault. It's the people that are in like the 30s and beyond. Let's say even late 20s that are suckers for all the sales pitches and tactics that really just annoy me to the point where I'm like, hey, look, do whatever you want, like whatever you want. Just make sure you're doing it for you, not for anyone else. All this like, oh, this gets this compliment, this gets that compliment. It's like, bitch, really? Am I gonna get the same fucking compliment from the same fucking person that you did? No. The chances of me getting that exact same compliment, I'm more likely to win the lottery than to pull that off. The same compliment, the same person. And as soon as I had that realization, I'm like, yeah, I've got an idea for a video. And then I thought about it. I'm like, hey, shit, I've got like an hour and a half left on my StreamYard account for this month. Let me do a video. And I've got the time tonight. So I said, fuck it. Let me do this. So what are your thoughts?
I agree with your thinking. I was thinking of something today. One thing I like to do with fragrance is buy gifts for people.
Mm.
So I was wondering today, when you're buying a gift for someone, do you just go on your own opinion of the fragrance, or do you use people in the community's opinions? Say it's for
Ah,
somebody opposite sex, or for a friend who isn't into fragrance, same sex, or something like that.
I think fragrance is one of the hardest things to buy for people that you don't know so intimately that you would have to think about it. I think for me, it's only happened a few times that I bought fragrance for other people that were not in the family. So this, I would say, she's my best friend. Been best friends since high school, freshman year of high school. So that's a good more than 10 years ago. And one day I bought her a fragrance and she loved it. I think it was her birthday. I bought her. I think it was either Curve or it was one of those not super expensive brands like Escada maybe or Curve. She loved it. She wore it all the time when I was over there. And the motivation for me buying that was because I was into fragrance. I smelled a bunch of things, and I thought, okay, what would I want her to smell like when we go out on dates? It was friends, so friend date. What would I want her to smell like? So that was my driving force. Now, next year, fast forward, her birthday comes up. I went and did the same thing. She had developed her tastes. I developed my tastes. And then she didn't like the second gift I got her. She's like, oh, this is okay. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I went purely on what I wanted her to smell like, and it did not work. And it's because my tastes had developed, the branching was very different. At that point we were in college. She was living in dorms. I was still living at home. She was at a private school. I was in a public school. She was in a medical field. I was in science, so still kind of similar. But the interactions we had were far less often. So the amount of information I had on her was a lot less. So when I was, I would say the more in tune you are with the person, the more natural it'll be and the easier it'll be for you to buy the fragrance and pick it out. The less in tune you are, just don't do it. Stay the fuck away.
It's interesting. I think I've only ever not succeeded when the person hasn't been a fragrance wearer already. Actually, one friend, I gave us a decant of Feb Delicious and she just said it smelled like toilet freshener or something. But that's the only one, and she quite likes perfumes.
That's Dior, right? One of the exclusive Diors.
Yeah, she collects Guerlain's stuff, but she didn't like that one. I was we was talking earlier about blind buying. I was talking about blind buying stuff and testing stuff.
Yeah,
I haven't bought fragrances for a while, but I think this past week and a half, I think I bought at least purchased 3 or 4.
Nice, very nice.
And I think they were, if I can think, one I tested years ago. It was for somebody else, and they already liked it anyway, so I got it for them. That wasn't that bad. Two of them were blind buys, and the third was something I got my nose on years ago. So I don't really remember it. It's the Guerlain Ideal Cologne.
How do you like that? Is it a love or a like or?
I think I like it. Yeah, I like it, but I'm trying to limit my fragrances that I'm adding to my collection to ones that I just love. So it's just like an everyday freshie, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's quite warm at the minute, so I just took a punt on it. It's discontinued, so I got a cheap bottle for 20 quid.
Did you see what Jag says? A girl on girl, the baby in her.
She's I think she's in her 70s. So menopause.
See where you see a hurdle, or where you see an impassable wall. I see a hurdle. And it just depends on how much determination you are, and how high you're willing to vault. You can make it work.
Like how low? She's my friend's mother. I don't think I'd be allowed.
Or do you have a friend and a friend's daughter? Mm,
She's my friend's mother, but she's my perfume friend. I talk to her about fragrance.
gotcha. So blind buying. So everyone, we're at the 1 hour mark. I think I've only got like 10 more minutes on my StreamYard. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna ask a few more questions of Caboose, and if anyone has any, you know, thoughts on everything that we've discussed, obviously I'd love to hear it. Uh, if you haven't dropped a like already, drop that like or dislike. I don't give a shit. I'm nobody. Who the fuck cares? Um, at the end of the day, we're all the same. We're all made up of. We're all a meat bag, right? Meat bag trying to smell good. So Caboose, blind buying. What would you say is your main motivator for blind buying the last, let's say, 5 things that you have?
I'm quite humble in my belief in my own abilities to make a decision on a fragrance. So to really get my head around something, like even I'll have an opinion on it for a few weeks or a month, and then the next time that season rolls around, I'll wear it, and I might have figured out maybe a different time of the year it's more appropriate for, or different occasions, or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So samples don't really give me the experience of all of that. Usually I'm pretty good at picking scents I like, but then what the trick for me is really finding scents that suit or at least how I see myself, or I want to see myself, and scents I really love. And like, for example, something like Pure Malt. A lot of people love Pure Malt. It's not a bad fragrance. It smells good, but it just never seemed to suit me, friend. Which is like, I just rather not own it. I'd rather somebody else own it, if you know what I mean. Enjoy it.
Yeah. You'd rather smell it periodically, but not consistently on yourself.
Yeah, I've got a lot of fragrances and a lot of nice things I like, so I wouldn't want to waste the cooler weather in something like that.
Yeah. No, there's so many. There's a limited number of days in your life, in everyone's lives, limited times to wear fragrances. Some people have a limited budget, so there's a lot of things, a lot of moving wheels going on for certain people. For me, let's say, I don't expect to live past, let's say, 65. My collection is, I've got enough to last me until I'm 120. What's the point of buying more? It's either because I've got the thrill of purchasing it, which a lot of the time it is for me, or someone has told me that this is a better rendition of this ingredient, and I love that ingredient. Let's say lime. That's why I bought Limon Verde Blind, because I'm like, oh fuck, it's a new lime fragrance, or a new to me lime fragrance. I'd love to smell it, and I know I'm gonna love it. If it smells like what people have said, I'm gonna love it. Now, if I don't like it, does that mean that I'm not going to wear it? It just means that I've got more things in the collection that smell, that are pleasant, that I can, I don't like the term dumb reach, but I can dumb reach for.
Are you still in the game of like testing stuff and getting samples, or are you just wearing what you have, the bottles you own?
So I just ordered, I think, 10 bottles the other day. It's supposed to get to me tomorrow. There's two of them in there. Actually, I think there's like four of them in there that I've never smelled. And then other stuff is like gifts or backups or other stuff. So yeah, I'm still deep in the game. I think in the past 3 months, I've added maybe like 17 bottles to my
Did you ever
collection
get
that
out of
are
the game
new.
and take a break, go on hiatus?
Have I ever, or would I ever?
Did you ever go on hiatus from like adding stuff to your collection?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think from 2013 to maybe 2016, I didn't buy a single bottle. And then a bottle here, a bottle there. And then I think 2018, I jumped back in and bought maybe like 10 bottles. Ah, shit. What happened was one day I thought, shit, I want to. I've got all these colognes that I've been wearing and deodorants and stuff. I want to smell nice and new. I want to, smell what's fresh. I think right around that time, Savage came out. Versace Dylan Blue came out. So whatever year that was, Aqua, Atlantique, and Amara were being talked about. So I think that at that point I was buying a bunch of shit. So it must have been like 2018 or a little bit earlier. But then since then, until just a few months ago, totally dry again. I didn't buy anything using what I've got. I've got backup bottles, and I'm not like Jeremy or backup bottle boss, or Robe's 1,000 fucking bottles. But I've got enough backup bottles that I can say, okay, this vintage Millesime Imperial, fuck it, I'm gonna wear it. I was going through my shit today, and I loaned my bottle of 2008 Millesime Imperial to Sancho. In my collection, I've got 2010 Millesime Imperial, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm wearing that today. It's just a matter of if I feel like it, I'll wear it. If I don't feel like it, I'm going to buy something else that piques my interest right now. I'm a, it's very hard for me to say that I'm satisfied with a fragrance. I know that there's always a better scent. Nothing is perfect, in my opinion. What about you? Have you gone on hiatuses recently?
Yeah, I did one from I took off 2018 and 2019, pretty much. And these streams got me thinking about it. Got me going back to Fragrantica and pulling the trigger this month.
What was the first thing that you bought after hiatus?
I think last year I bought Dunhill Icon.
Ooh, what do you
Because
think?
what I did, I basically wore what I had, and then things I wasn't wearing I got rid of. Because I wasn't testing and searching for samples, I was made to just wear what I had. And then I realized some things were just never getting touched and didn't really care for. So I thinned out my collection, and then right before lockdown, I think I sold like 5, reduced my collection, and spring I've just been using up decants and stuff like that. I'm not really shy of buying decants. I don't really care about bottles as much. It's nice. And sometimes you have to get a bottle because if no one you know is doing a decant of it. Yeah.
I like it. Well, the last thing I want is for the stream to just cut out and say, "Oh, you've reached your limit." So, everyone, what I'm gonna do is let's take all the thoughts and ideas that we've thought of and brought up and put a pin in it. What I want everyone to do, and this is for me included, I want to reassess why I listen to certain people, and and that's it. It's not a matter of there are people that we shouldn't listen to. It's that if you're listening to them for the right reason for you, that's all that matters. For me to listen to, let's say, Mark, what's what's the reason I'm listening to Mark over Jeremy, for instance? That's a unique reason for me. The same thing for you, Caboose. Aaron, everyone else in the audience. As long as the reason you're listening to someone is unique, I think your respective fragrance journey will be that much better. Just establish what you like. Figure out what works for you. If it tends to be similar to someone else, then great. But never let it be something that you blindly follow. The last thing we need is just more followers. We need more people that think on their own, in whatever aspect of life, fragrances, politics, business, whatever it is. So, on that note, I'm going to say I want to thank each and every one of you. I'm not going to go through the damn list, but I appreciate you all spending your time with us. The hour and 10 minutes that we've been doing the stream. I'm hoping to do this more often. I like the focused conversations that are in short bursts. Uh, for me, because it's fragrance oriented. And then of course you got the other streams like I am Joey Cannoli, like Batch Code, like everyone else that does streams. Uh, my purpose in streaming is going to be mainly fragrance related. That's what I love. That's what I like doing. So if you're interested, of course, stay tuned. I'd love to do this more often. So someone had mentioned I should do a video. I have thought of that. I will possibly do that. So with that, Caboose, thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Everyone in the audience, thank you for coming. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, wherever you are, whoever you are. Stay fragrant.